Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Off to the Races. I am your horse racing analyst, Alec, and on this week's show, I will be covering the Kentucky Derby with all the horses' pace projection and odds, as well as the Kentucky Oaks, which headlines a brilliant Friday Churchill Downs card. Sometimes, for bettors, a key factor in picking their Derby horses are the odds. So this year's projected odds for this year's Kentucky Derby are Omaha Beach 4-1, Roadster 9-2, Tacitus 6-1, Game Winner 8-1, Improbable 10-1, Maximum Security 10-1, Vacoma 12-1, By My Standards 15-1, War of Will 20-1, Code of Honor 20-1, Win-Win-Win 20-1, Tax 20-1, Spinoff 20-1, Long Range Toddy 30-1, High Cal 30-1, Gray Magician 30-1, Country House 30-1, Cutting Humor 30-1, Fuquay Parfait 50-1, and Master Fencer, the Japanese horse, 50-1. Omaha Beach, who is most likely going to be the favorite, and Roadster, the Bob Baffert Santa Anita Derby horse. I think they're both going to be pretty good going into the Derby. I see Roadster being the second choice. I'm not going to be loving any of them. I think that I'd rather a horse who's a little bit more pricey in this wide open Derby. I'm looking forward to seeing how they run, though. They're very nice horses. In the third spot on my odds list, I have Tacitus at 6-1. Who looks like he's going to be good overall. I just don't see him winning due to his closing spot in the field. I think he'll probably finish out the trifecta maybe even the superfecta or the exacta even, because that would be pretty good for a closer. But I don't see him winning. I'm not going to use any win bets on him. And then Game Winner at 8-1, he looks good. He's a remarkably consistent horse who was 2-year-old champion last year. I'll look for him in the exacta. He seems to want to finish second or first. He always wants to win. You can tell he has that determination, and that's something you need in the Kentucky Derby, where you're going to be bounced around a lot. I think he can recover from the bad trip just as he did at Churchill Downs if he gets a bad trip. I'll look forward to see how he does in the Kentucky Derby. Improbable and Maximum Security are both 10-1 on my lists. One of them is coming out of a very impressive win in the Florida Derby. The other comes out of a nice second place finish to Omaha Beach in the Arkansas Derby. Both are horses that look pretty good. I prefer Improbable because he looked very good against Omaha Beach, and he has Bob Baffert going for him. But Maximum Security is a good horse. I would just prefer Improbable. He was the buzz horse after last year's Los Alamitos Futurity. I think that the buzz has ceased a bit, and that will make his odds go up. I'm excited to see how this horse does. Maximum Security, yeah, he can probably be the front runner in this field. I don't love the front runners in the Derby sometimes because they run 45 like last year with Promises Fulfilled. We'll see how he does. I just prefer Improbable of the two. Vacoma at 12-1 looks pretty good. He won the Bluegrass. I am concerned maybe about the distance due to his female family. However, I think he can overcome that because of his nice Bluegrass win over some solid horses. By My Standards is good value at 15-1. The Louisiana Derby winner may be a bit underrated because he was coming off just a maiden win. I'll look forward to see how he does as well. He might fill out the superfecta. I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit the board, but maybe he's a cut below the best horses in the field. At 20-1, you have Tax, Spinoff, Win-Win-Win. I think all of them are solid horses. Of those three who are my top 20-1 horses, I like Win-Win-Win and Tax. They look like good closers that might have a chance to hit the board. We'll see how they do in a couple weeks. Other horses are Code of Honor and War of Will. They are also at 20-1. I just don't see them winning. I don't trust War of Will because it's the first time off a minor injury for him. And Code of Honor, I'm not sure he can gain all the ground. He showed a bit of vulnerability in the Florida Derby. Yes, the slow pace might have hindered him a bit, but I don't like his chances going to the Derby. It seems maybe, again, like by my standards, he's a cut below. Long Range Toddy, the Rebel #1 winner, Haikal, the Gotham winner, Grey Magician, second in the UAE Derby, Cutting Humor, the Sunland Derby winner, and Country House, the third place finisher of the Arkansas Derby, make up this year's 30-to-1 shots. Usually the 30-to-1 shots are the horses that start to get a little bit off the board. I don't usually like the 30-to-1 shots. One of them sticks out, and that's Haikal. Yes, I said on last week's show that he might be more effective around one turn, but as I learned from a magazine that I read, it seems maybe he can improve off of that first two-turn try. I'll look for him in the Derby. The other horses that are at 30-to-1, I'm willing to toss. I don't exactly love them. I don't think that the closing kicks by them are strong enough. Meanwhile, Haikal's closing kick is deadly. You could see him hit the trifecta even. And then we have the 50-to-1 shots, Pourquoi Parfait and Master Fencer. It's not often you see one of the Big 7 Derby prep winners upwards of 20-to-1, but this year's is just too bad. 13th in the Risen Star, 5th in the Lecomte. He can't compete against Americans, and that's why I'm tossing him and Grey Magician. Master Fencer, he stole a spot from a horse like Boat Express or Signal Man. He can't compete with the horses in Japan, let alone the top dirt horses of America. Maybe he'd be 15-to-1 in an allowance race, but he's going to be probably over 100-to-1 in my opinion. I don't see how this horse gets bet at all. Anyone in their right mind, I think, wouldn't be betting Master Fencer. My value picks for this year's Kentucky Derby, Win at 20-to-1 and Improbable at 10-to-1. This year's Kentucky Derby pace setters are going to be Vekoma, Omaha Beach, Maximum Security, and War of Will. I think Vekoma, from his bluegrass speed, is going to take the lead. Omaha Beach will be second. Maximum Security will have to rate, and War of Will be a nice presser. In the stalker spots, I have Improbable, Spin-Off, Game Winner, and Cutting Humor. I think that the pace up front will benefit Improbable and Game Winner, who are very good at pouncing when the spot is needed. However, any of these horses could be farther back or even closer to the pace, but they're all going to be in good position. In the mid-pack, we have Tacitus and Tax, the 2 Wood Memorial horses, Roadster, the Santa Anita Derby winner, Code of Honor, by my standards, an interesting long shot, Pourquoi Parfait, Grey Magician, Long Range Toddy, and Country House. These horses will all be making their moves on the turn. They need a comfortable position, luck, and a strong pace. Some nice long shots are in this group. And finally, the late runners. Win, second in the Bluegrass, Haikal, third in the Wood Memorial, and Master Fencer, the Japanese horse. It is tough to come from behind in the Derby. They'll all need a good pace. However, front runners are strong this year, and some will be hanging on at the end. I would expect closers to hit the board. I think that the bottom of the exotics could be filled by Win, and Haikal. This year's Kentucky Oaks is all about the Simon Callahan trainee Bellafina, who's won virtually everything at Santa Anita that you can win for 3-year-old fillies. She was 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies in November last year, but since then has rebounded to 3 impressive wins at Santa Anita. She's going to be the big favorite. It looks like right now that she's going to get her revenge on Jaywalk, who hasn't performed well this year. In fact, for a long shot, I thought Out for a Spin would be good, who was able to outrace Jaywalk in the early going and hang on to beat Restless Rider. This could have been a fluke performance, but maybe at 20-1 in the Derby she can make some noise. I'll look for her, as well as Bellafina. I think in the Oaks Derby Daily Double, maybe in a smart bet would be a Bellafina all, if necessary. If you can't find a Derby winner, then just do that. That could get you a lot of money based on what's going to happen this year, especially if a long shot comes in the Derby. Right now, Jaywalk could be about 6-8-1, something like that. But I think she's bad value based on how she's performed this year. Yes, it's going to be a third off a layoff, but not for me this year. Another interesting horse, Dunbar Road, in my opinion. Second in the Gulfstream Park Oaks off an impressive maiden win. I think for Chad Brown, she's going to be able to be a nice horse in this year's Kentucky Oaks. I think Champagne Anyone, who beat her, she could fill out the exotics as well. A lot of horses that'll contend for second place. If Bellafina wasn't in this Kentucky Oaks, the favorite could be 7-2 maybe. I think this is going to be really good. Fleur de la Mar for Bob Baffert. She has a chance to finish second. Restless Rider, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Don't throw out her just because of her loss in the Ashland. That was her first race back off the layoff. I think she could do well overall. Leora might be an interesting long shot. She always comes with her run. We'll see what happens in the Oaks this year, but I think Bellafina can win by 6. That's it for this week's episode. Next week is crunch time, the final week of Kentucky Derby previews. We're going to see what happens in the big race. Also, great job by Runnin' to Love Ya in the Charlestown Classic. That was a great win. Please like and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next week on Off to the Races.